Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Sacred Geography, and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Sunday, April 9th, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time 2023. There is a new 3D interactive map of Mars coming out from Caltech, and it is spectacular. But the big story, happy Easter. I hope you and yours had a wonderful weekend. Atmospheric river is now slamming the Pacific Northwest in a series of spring storms. The series of storms will continue to batter the Pacific Northwest this weekend into early next week. Keep calm. It's boom time. And Easter. The upcoming Gulf Coast soaker likely will not be subtropical. We did predict 2 days ago that it had potential to do so, but there will be severe weather involved Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The full forecast in just a moment. Northern Utah cities brace for flooding as deep snow begins melting. Some people in Hooper are cleaning up minor flooding in their yards as snow begins to melt, but more melt is coming. It's just the beginning of spring, ding ding, as Mount Waterman ski area in California can't even open because this year's epic snowfall has destroyed the only road to get there. Holy macaroni. Grand Canyon's North Rim monster snowdrifts are delaying opening. The second highest recorded accumulated snowfall ever in the Grand Canyon history, more than 250 inches, will push back the opening of the park's North Rim. Damn. It will now open June 2nd. Holy macaroni, that's deep into summer. What a bummer. Instead of May. Hey, according to park officials. They didn't rhyme, though, but that's fine. With snow depths of more than 7.5 feet, much of the area still needs to be plowed. The average snowfall for the North Rim is just 126 inches, so they doubled it, baby. And the peaches were pummeled in the Northeast. In fact, the 2023 season isn't looking too peachy. Area farmers report massive peach losses reminiscent of 2016. Now, the New England farmers are waiting to see if any of their buds have survived the mid-February sub-zero temperatures. But it appears that this month's cold snap crippled the growth of the beloved stone fruit, typically harvested from mid-June to September. And those who make their living in agriculture are crossing their fingers that any amount has been spared. So it's looking bleak for the Northeast peach. It's also looking wet for Lake Tulare. Yes, Tulare, Lake Tulare is filling. The return of Lake Tulare. Take a look. This is March 18th. This is March 29th. So that's over 100 square miles already flooded, and the forecasts are for the entire lake to fill in the coming weeks. And residents are worried about floodwaters reaching Tulare Lake compost facilities.
Farmland are already underwater.
Let's see what they have to say.
In the South Valley, Tulare Lake is back and expected to grow with all the snow melt in the coming weeks. And that's causing concern for people who live near the Tulare Lake compost facility. They're afraid of what will happen if that waste mixes in with all that water. And thanks for joining us tonight for Action News. Good evening, I'm Warren Armstrong.
And I'm Jessica Harrington. Action News South Valley reporter Eliza Navarro visited the facility today to see what's being done to keep the water away.
Poop water.
In Kings County, it's been all hands on deck protecting communities like Corcoran from incoming floodwater. But surrounding several communities, thousands of acres of farmland are already underwater. Officials say now that the rain has stopped, it's the snow melt they're worried about.
I worry about the snow melting coming below the dam because you can't control that. So I think we got a lot of good people working together, and we got to keep the community to stick together and help each other out.
Supervisor Doug Burboon says officials are concerned about the possibility of the water reaching the Tulare Lake compost facility near Kettleman City. The Los Angeles County Sanitation District owns it, and they let us in on Wednesday to see what they're doing to prepare for floodwaters. Brian Langpap works for the Sanitation District. He says it will take a lot of water to reach their operation, which is surrounded by about 14,000 acres of land that they use for farming.
Most of our farmland is at kind of in elevation, but when we built that compost facility, we purposely built it 5 feet higher than the surrounding land.
There is also a levee between the Tulare Lake bottom and the property surrounding the facility. The Sanitation District has already allowed the county to pump some water onto their farmland and say they're ready for more. Any water they receive will stay and will be used in their farming operation.
Even if water were to get over the South Central levee, it would have to create basically a big new lake over here. And kind of our compost facility would be an island in that lake until that lake got over 5 feet deep. So with that added protection, we feel like we're in a good position.
Langpap also explained that before compost comes to the facility, it's already received 15 days of pretreatment in Los Angeles County. Once it arrives, it's kept indoors until it can be cooked at high temperatures to kill any remaining bacteria and viruses. The piles you see outside are already safe to be used. The only microbes that remain are those found in soil, which makes the material in the piles more nutrient rich. But to be safe, they're now receiving less material.
One of those extra precautions is we're going to be ramping down the material that we.
I think that they're a little overconfident there, and they're, the poop nightmare could be coming to take Lake Tulare. So stay tuned for more Boom. Here's the full forecast. Rainy in the Pacific Northwest. Warmer temperatures return to the central U.S. The end of the weekend will bring tranquil conditions for many. It's beautiful out here. We're basking in the sunshine. It's going to get up to 70 the next few days. We are working diligently in the garden. It is amazing. And what a spring, ding, ding. But tranquil conditions for many will lead to dismal conditions in the Pacific Northwest. It will remain unsettled with periods of rain and high elevation snow. Warming temperatures and melting snowpack may result in flooding from the intermontane west to the Great Lakes. The southeast coast will also experience some lingering clouds and showers, along with cool conditions, and severe weather threats will pop up midweek. And we'll take a look at that. It's a tweak. But take a look at the flood watches and warnings up in the Pacific Northwest. And it could get bad because a lot of this precipitation is not going to be falling as snow. It's going to be falling as rain. And that could lead to some epic flooding in Washington and Oregon. So stay tuned for the Boom. Here's the system that is currently there. Let's just move that back. Look at how severe that is. There's probably some thunderstorms happening there near Portland. Here we are 3, 6, 8 hours ahead. It's going to continue to rain in that area. It's insane with high elevation snow through Tuesday. It's a nonstop here through Wednesday. It does not stop until late Wednesday into Thursday. Here with some lingering snow as that front finally blocks up here in Montana and Wyoming and moves east. And then sets up for an historic storm in Ontario that's going to bring epic snow like they haven't seen in quite some time. Let's look at the severe weather threat here. It's going to pop up here on Wednesday down in the southeast from the Gulf of Mexico, and it will affect Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and move over through Florida. So keep a close eye on the weather through the weekend. Saturday, it's looking quite episodic in the Gulf, quite active. So the tropical storms are now returning to the system. Wow, amazing. Here, let's look at the snowfall totals. Record snow in British Columbia through Monday, Tuesday. Here is your Wednesday. That heavy snow is going to be dumping down into Washington State and Oregon. By Wednesday, Thursday, it's going to move east into Montana and Wyoming, like we said, and watch this storm develop in Ontario. Holy macaroni. We're talking hundreds of square miles buried under 4 feet of snow if these models hold up. And that is going to be falling Thursday, April 13th through Wednesday, April 19th. That is a hell of a storm. Holy. Shut up, Al. He's Canadian. Seismic update. No quakes of note. We do have some interesting upticks here in the Caribbean. We said we were going to be keeping a close eye on that in Puerto Rico as earthquakes as high as 4.5 magnitude have occurred today. Some activity here up in, where is that? Let's click on it. Point Possession, Alaska. Maybe there's a volcano there. I doubt it. But interesting nonetheless. No other quakes of note worldwide. All is quiet on the Western Front as the Earth is expanding. We have activity in the mid-ocean ridge here, 5.1. In the central Atlantic ridge, 5.7. In the southern mid-Atlantic ridge, as the mid-Atlantic ridges are spreading. Worldwide volcano news update. Beza Miani's amazing eruptive period has come to a close, but Popo has picked up where it has passed off and puffing to 30,000 feet just 24 hours ago. There you go, Popo. Hello, that's the highest puff in quite some time. And we do have pyroclastic activity here at Semeru in East Java, Indonesia. Active growing lava dome generates a pyroclastic flow, which scares the shit out of all these people that apparently live on a 50th of an acre each. Space weather news update. The sun has been quiet for weeks, and we are at solar max. There are no spots at all on the disk, just pepper flakes. This is not solar max sunspots. It's embarrassing. I even need to discuss this, but I do digress. We are at solar max, and it's looking like grand solar minimum sun. And here we are looking at the telemetry, just dropped off a cliff here. Plasma speed is now in the low mid 300s. So no geomagnetic activity in the future as the 3-day geomagnetic forecast is looking all quiet on the Western Front. Now, climate science shock. Methane's unexpected cooling. For years, with the global warming propaganda, methane has been used as a tool to scare the out of the masses. But like many other narratives, this one is unraveling as we speak. Methane is expected to cool the planet instead of warm it. Yes. UC Riverside researchers found that methane not only traps heat in the atmosphere, but also creates cooling clouds that offset 30% of that heat. That means, well, snowball Earth. Yes, it's like a volcanic winter. If we have a huge methane outbreak, it would be similar to a large volcanic eruption. Most climate models do not yet account for the new University of California, Riverside's discovery. And that should be, well, obvious because it's climate science is nothing but propaganda to scare you to change the policy. It has nothing to do with you. Has nothing to do with CO2. It has everything to do with the sun. Now take a look at this article. 20 times quicker. Ice sheets can collapse far faster than previously thought possible. Guess when they looked at the data? This article is so disingenuous, it actually took data from the Younger Dryas climate catastrophe where temperatures shifted almost 30 degrees Fahrenheit within a few hundred years, multiple times over a period of thousands of years, to make their conclusions. And they say that ice sheets can collapse 20 times faster than thought. Well, of course they can, especially if they're bombarded by bolides that melt them instantaneously, rising sea levels hundreds of feet in just a few decades. That's not what's happening now, mainstream media. That's not what's happening now, mainstream science. Stop trying to scare us. It's embarrassing. Historic NASA IXPE captures the Crab Nebula like never before. Al Gore is a bore. You know what I was going to say there. Take a look at this. This almost looks like science fiction, but this is actually science fact. with just a few extra wavelengths involved. The Crab Nebula has been part of several studies by astronomers. It began back on February 22nd, 1971, when a sounding rocket took off carrying specialized sensors directed towards the Crab Nebula from Wallops Island, Virginia. Later on, Martin Weiskopf, an astronomer, suggested the creation of an Earth-orbiting satellite equipped with advanced instruments to obtain more comprehensive data on the Crab Nebula and other enigmatic cosmic entities. That sounds amazing. This idea eventually emerged with NASA's Imaging X-ray Polar Polarimetry Explorer IXPE, which was launched in 2021. And no bum, look at that. Holy! That is an amazing shot of plasma universe in action right there. Now take a look at this. Zoom in on Mars, shall we? Like never before with this epic 3D map of the red planet. It's like Google Earth for Mars, but it's coming out of JPL. If you're the kind of person who can spend hours upon hours clicking around Google Earth looking for advanced civilizations that people are completely ignoring, there's a new toy for you. NASA has just released the most detailed 3D map of Mars ever available. It's created by Bruce Murray Laboratory for Planetary Visualization at the California Institute of Technology at Pasadena. The interactive global CTX mosaic of Mars map is a mosaic created from images taken from NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, more specifically, its black and white context camera. Whew. And it is fantastic. Let's take a look. Now, as far as simplicity and functionality, this 3D planetary imager is, bar none, easy to use. You just click and hold and move the cursor around to move the planet, and you just drag and draw the little roller to zoom. And we're looking at the Valles Marineris on Mars. You can go all the way out and see where that is. You can come all the way in. You can go way in. It takes a while to render in high res, but the results are amazing. Not only that, you can just chill out and take a moment to soak all the electric geology on the Martian surface, or just click another place like Olympus Mons, and it'll take you right there. All you have to do is chill a minute, and it just rolls you right over the Martian surface to, let's say, where we're going, Olympus Mons, the largest volcano in all of our solar system. You know, when I was a child, I read a science fiction novel on some rock climbers that climbed the interwall of Olympus Mons, and I had no idea that when I was an adult, I would be able to search the surface in such high resolution that I would actually be able to see the cliff wall in the Martian novel. This wall is 10 miles high, and the whole novel was the epic expedition of them climbing up this wall. Fascinating. And I'm sure you'll be fascinated when you click on, let's say, the Gale Curiosity rover site, and it'll roll you right over to that spot in a moment's notice. And if you did a dab, well, it will be even more spectacular, won't it? Because we literally have to roll over almost 1/3 of the Martian surface to get to Gale Curiosity and the lander. And there you can see some of the details they've put in there, where the Curiosity rover actually roved on the Martian surface. Doesn't that look like a footprint? Maybe we should contact Mud Fossil University. What do you think? I do digress. We may be looking at the end of capitalism. One of the world's oldest and largest investment banks warns greedflation has gone too far. I hope you're hedging your bets and you don't have large amounts of cash in banks. Remember that each bank is only FDIC insured to $250,000. And if the dollar collapses, guess what the dollar's worth? Nothing. But if you did translate your dollars to precious metals or cryptocurrency, you may survive and thrive. That's not financial advice. It's simply a role play. Now, if the system does collapse and there's no more money, you're going to be starving. So you better get growing. Do you know about the Johnson Sioux bioreactor and the most biologically and mycorrhizally complete compost on Earth? Yeah, you create it using the Johnson Sioux bioreactor compost method, and there's an instructional video on how to build this composting bioreactor right here. It's just 12 minutes long. You literally have 12 minutes of your life to learn how to save your life. So go check out the video.
Demonstrates the construction.
All the links will be below, and that's a boom to knowledge. We also have an Ask Diamond Anything over at askdiamond/5.me/diamond. Links will be below. And stay tuned for more boom. Support the channel by becoming a Patreon, where you can look at all of the work we do commercial free. But the most important thing you can do is share this video. It's free, and it helps us beat the shadow banning algorithm that hates the fact that we tell the truth. We love each and every one of you, and that is a boom. Happy Easter.